Hi everybody, welcome to another tutorial on BeepStreet Drambo, the modular groovebox. In this video I would like to talk about LFOs, how to use them and which one are available in Drambo. LFO stands for low frequency oscillator and they can be used to modulate other sounds. So let's start first of all adding on the processor an ADSR. Let's move to the right to add another module and let's select a simple oscillator. So at this point, if we bring up the keys, we'll have just a simple one oscillator synth with an envelope. Okay, let's also add on the processor a filter. Okay, so let's move to the right, the oscillator 1, to add another module or rack, and let's go to modulator. Here you find 3 LFOs. Let's start with the simple one, the mini LFO. As you can see, very straightforward. You can select a different type of wave that will be used to modulate other sounds. You have the ability to set it as bipolar or not, which I suggest you set it up but as bipolar, but it depends on your preference and what you are trying to achieve, the frequency of the modulation and the amount. As always, you have an option to connect to other signals. So let's click and hold on the cutoff and let's select the signal coming from the LFO. As you can see, you have a new LFO called, a new dial for the LFO called the LFO3 inside filter number 1. This is give you the option to set how much you can influence the cutoff from the LFO. So let's increase that, okay, and let's press on the keyboard now. As you can hear, the cutoff has been filtered up and down following the waveform which is signed at the moment from the LFO3. So let's change the frequency just to show you that it is connected. Or the amount. That allows you to make it more faint as an option. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, you can choose different waveform, triangle, more linear, so up. You see it's coming down straight away after the ramp is up, or down. This gives you the impression that it's like a pulse, which can be quite handy for particularly pulse or plucks type of sound. Let's add another oscillator, another LFO, which is still an oscillator. So let's go for the mini LFO stereo. So the difference here is you have the phase dial if you want to act on the phase of the signal which is produced, which you can also further modulate through another LFO or another module. Still the same waveform, the frequency, the amount, the bipolar, but you have a symmetry option here which allows you, if it is enabled, to shift the phase between the left and the right channel. Okay, so now let's connect that, for example, to the resonance. So let's click on the resonance and let's connect that to the LFO stereo 2. Let's increase the intensity and let's play. Play on the keyboard. What I find normally useful is to add an oscilloscope, and if you go under a miscellaneous utility, you have the option at the very bottom to select an oscilloscope and connect that to the filter to see how the signal is being shaped. Act on the X scale to see better the signal. And now as you change the frequency on the 2 LFO, you can see how the signal is being changed ultimately. Okay, let's add another LFO, and this time let's add the normal LFO. Here it is. So what do we have? Similar option really. The frequency dial, if you wanted to set to be synchronized on the frequency on the bit for the timing that you are using for playing your bit. You can set the eyes bipolar, the waveform, the amount and the phase as per the other modules. So pretty much similar, and this is probably the most comprehensive one. Of course, you don't have the symmetry option that you have on the stereo one. And what we're going to do here, let's connect the LFO here, frequency LFO3, directly to the output of this new LFO. Click and hold, and let's do that. So what's happening here is that this last LFO is actually modulating the original LFO, which is then modulating further the filter one, and you can follow it by the color. This magenta color here is connected to that, and this LFO is connected to, it's modulated further by that. Again, normally what I do, I add another oscilloscope under miscellaneous utility. I add it there, and I connect that, for example, to this LFO here. Okay, and the reason I do that is because that it helps me to, again, to understand how the signal works. So this is the signal which is coming out from LFO3, okay, which then helps you to understand how the LFO3 is actually modulating the cutoff of the filter 1. So we have practically added through a second LFO more option to modulate the cutoff of the filter 1. And ultimately that will give you different textures, different options on creating sounds. This sounds quite interesting, so let's increase the number of voices. Let's add, for example, on the processor a chorus, and also let's add on the processor again probably a reverb. Let's go up on the registry and see what it sounds like. So as you can see, very powerful features in Drambo using LFOs. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye.